well, you told me you sold me 42. And it's my fault. I should have put a tape measure on it, but I had no idea there was a 40-inch. Well, what's up, guys? This is Daniel from Arms Family Homestead, and welcome back to another beautiful day here in Oklahoma. I'm telling you, September is amazing. I would give so much if we would have about 6 months of the year that feels like September, because I can get out here, get some work done, do some things, and not turn into a nasty, sweaty, stinking beast in a hurry. It's nice. So many of you have been asking for a shop update, and what's going on in the shop, the barn to shop conversion. You know, we converted our old barn into an actual usable shop. Well, there's not a whole lot to update you guys on because I haven't done a ton of work in the shop because it's been so beautiful outside. It's hard for me to go, let's go spend some time in the shop when the weather's perfect outside to do other things. But I do have one thing. I think I got scammed just a little bit. So I'm gonna open this door so we can get a little bit of airflow in here, and there we go. So the shop's a little cluttered right now. I've been trying to get everything moved in. So I'm basically moving everything from the garage up by the house down here, and then my wife's got some other plans for the garage. So all my tools and everything that were up there are in the process of moving down here and getting put in. And I got a couple storage containers. I bought these online from Lowe's. Actually, one of those was in the garage, and I've had it for several years. It's this one right here. I really, really like these things. And they lock. They come with three shelves. They're not in place right now because of they slid out of where they're supposed to be in transition from the garage. So I've got one more of these coming. Every once in a while, if you'll watch Lowe's, every once in a while they run a really good sale on these things. They're pretty pricey, but they lock. I can put stuff in there that I don't want kids to have access to, you know, ammunition things or paints or things, stuff like that, and just, you know, shelves, and trying to figure everything out. Got a little feed area for all the animal stuff, and then right now, here's what I'm talking about. I got scammed. Okay, so this is all just storage stuff. I'm trying to be very organized and put everything in totes and tubs so it can go on some pallet racks. And I told you guys for a long time I wanted to get a good set of used pallet racks because new ones, outrageous. So I've been watching Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and all that stuff looking for some used pallet racks. Well, my father-in-law found some the other day and called me and said, hey, there's some on the side of the road. This guy sells it all the time. I said, perfect. So I went down and got some pallet racking. Now, pallet racking is expensive. This was kind of like one of those, I'm making an investment, something that's going to be here in the shop probably forever. Okay, so I bought, the way you buy pallet rack shelving is you buy your first bay. So it's got an upright and an upright. And then you add on however many sections you want. So you got starter bay, add on, add on, add on. And these are 10-foot sections. So I bought 8-foot sections. These are 8-foot sections. And I bought 4 total. So I got 32 feet. And it's 10 feet tall. And I bought enough of the cross beams to do 3 shelves per section. And what I may end up doing is 4 shelves on a couple of them, and then these 2 leave the lower shelf probably say high enough across here that I can put, you know, the 4-wheeler, our electric bikes and things under, just to get them back closer to the wall. So all is well, all is great, all sounds good so far, right? I mean, this is good stuff, it's in great shape. So when I called this guy about the pallet rack system, I'm uneducated, don't know anything about pallet racks, okay? He said, yep, I've got some, they're 10 feet tall, 42 inches deep, and you get the uprights and the cross beams, but I don't have the wire grates, is what he said. I'm like, okay, no big deal. So I go online and I'm looking, and I find several places where I can order the wire grates to go on top of the shelves. Because I thought, well, with the price of lumber, if you guys haven't looked at the price of lumber lately, it's pretty much doubled. And I figured I got some numbers and ran everything, figured everything, and doing all of this decking all these shelves out in 2x6s, running 2x6 boards this way, is going to cost like $750. I was like, whoo! And plywood, you could use plywood, but with being that width, it'll sag over time with the weight. Because one thing I want to be able to do is, like, say this grapple bucket that I've got on the front of the Kubota here, I want to be able to just drive up there, set that on the shelf and unhook it, and not have to worry about the hydraulic hoses and all that stuff being outside. Probably won't leave the actual bucket in here, but stuff like that I want to be able to put on a shelf and get it out of the way and store it. So I get online, look for 42-inch deep pallet racking, find the shelves that I need, and I'm like, all right. So I run the price. It's going to be like $300 for as many as I bought. Because I bought a ton. I didn't need near this much, but I was just planning ahead, trying to make a good investment. So I go down and pick all this up, do everything. 42-inch pallet racking, 42-inch deep, okay? That's how most generally, it looks like the most common sizes are 36, 42, and 48 or something, I don't know. Get home, stick a tape measure on this thing after I start putting it all together, and I ran into a problem. Well, I didn't know it was a problem yet because I hadn't ordered the shelving, no big deal. But from right here to the back, the way you buy the shelving is it's called a waterfall shelf. It hangs over the edge, and then it has support beams to hold it up, okay? When I put a tape measure on it, it's 40 inches front to back, not 42. Me being unknowledgeable, me being dumb on the subject, had no idea that was a big deal. So I'm like, no big deal. I'll just get online, go to the 42-inch depth. I cannot find 42-inch deep pallet rack shelving anywhere. So I called the guy I bought it from. Super nice guy, and I'm not gonna run him down. He's just a guy that buys pallet rack systems by the whole warehouse, goes in, cuts them up, makes them the right length for people to put in their shops and stuff. And I said, hey, you sold me 42-inch deep pallet racking. He goes, yeah. I said, well, when I put a tape measure on it, it's 40 inches. And he said, oh, well, that's a problem. I said, well, why? He said, because it's almost impossible to find 40-inch pallet rack shelving, the wire grates. I was like, good. Well, you told me you sold me 42. And it's my fault. I should have put a tape measure on it, but I had no idea there was a 40-inch. I didn't know it would be difficult to find 40-inch pallet rack decking. So I don't know if he did it on purpose or not. I'm the kind of person that tries to see the best in people and say, I'm going to say it was hopefully an accident. I don't think he was trying to rip me off, but I think if he was selling 40-inch and told people, hey, it's almost impossible to find 40-inch decking, it'd be hard to get rid of. So now I'm trying to decide, what am I going to do with all this pallet racking? How am I going to deck it all out and not spend $700 on lumber? Lumber prices have just skyrocketed. I want to do something that's going to hold up and last forever. I don't want to put like a couple 2x4s and then some half-inch plywood or something, because that's going to sag over time. So let me show you what I'm working with, because I need some ideas, guys. So my rails here, basically I have 1.5 inches. So a 2x4, 2x6, something would sit right here and reach across to the other one. You know, I don't want to spend a fortune. I really don't want to come in here and have to weld something up. I just want something that can be quick and easy that I can set in there. So if you have any ideas, let me know in the comment section down below, because I've got all this stuff that I want to get put on shelves, and I've got 32 feet by 10 feet high of pallet rack system that I've got to figure out how to deck and not, I don't want to spend more money putting the deck in than what I spent on the whole system anyways. So let me know in the comment section if you got any good ideas, something that's going to be strong and durable and last forever and not sag like a sheet of plywood would. Plywood, wood. One of the woods. Now I know that was kind of a long ramble to say I need some advice and some help. But if you have any ideas, let me know. And anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. I've got to run to town and get some feed. I need to fill up my bulk feed trailer. That thing is awesome. Probably one of the best things that I've ever invested in for my farm, because if you're feeding multiple animals, if you can buy feed in bulk, it saves you so much money. And the feed blend that I buy, you can't even buy in the bag. The only way to buy it is by bulk. So it's not sold in a 50-pound bag. And I get a ton of questions about what do we feed our animals, what do we feed our goats, and I'll go over all that in a little bit. I'll go get some, I'll get some of the tags and compare what it is, show you the details, show you the specs. It's a blended feed from a local feed mill here, but I bet I get asked 20 times a week what we feed our animals. And this feed blend, I know some of you are probably going to disagree with me and say I shouldn't do this, but I feed it to the goats, I feed it to Whopper. I raised my last steer, Big Mac, the whole time on this feed, which it's made for cattle. I feed it to the alpacas, the donkey poodles. Everybody gets it just because it's a good all-around blended feed that I get from my local feed mill. And I'll tell you, it's called the D&H blend because the D&H cattle guys, they raise bucking bulls just down the road from me. And it's a blend that they came up with that they have our local feed mill mix up. And they raise bucking bulls for the PBR and PRC and all that stuff. They've got several world champion bulls that sell. They got bulls that sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And this is the blend that they feed their animals. And I'm telling you what, raising Big Mac on it last year, oh my goodness, you guys saw how Big Mac grew and how big he was. And that meat is just in the freezer. It's I got a freezer full of amazing homegrown beef. But anyways, let's run to the feed store and then I'll talk to you about that when I get back. There we go. So there's my 1.5 ton feed tote. It's made by L&H Versatote. There's the manufacturer in Hastings, Nebraska. So 1.5 tons lasts me a long time. When I'm feeding out a steer and I'm really pouring the feed to him, obviously he goes through a lot more feed than the goats would. So I'll go ahead and pour out a little bit of feed. You guys have seen me feed the animals 100 times. That's not what this video is about. I'll show you this feed. It's a blended byproduct feed. So I'll show you the labels and everything in just a few minutes. The breakdown of everything, kind of tell you what it is so you have an idea, because everybody wants to know what we feed our animals. It's packed in there right now. So here's what it looks like, and it's a blend. Like I said, it's a blended feed. Several different types of pellets and some corn chops in there. Now, as I said, this is a blended feed that's made by a local feed mill here. You may not be able to buy the exact blend. Obviously, the D&H Bull blend is not going to be available anywhere except probably here in Davis, Oklahoma. But it's a very close mixture to a typical 4-way blend. So I brought home a tag from that. Now, I'll just show you my receipt real quick, go over that. We bought, I think, 2,280 pounds or something, not quite a ton and a half because it wasn't completely empty. But the cost isn't broke down per ton. Most people don't really know what, or don't care to know what the per ton cost is. They sell it by hundredweight. So it's $11.50 per 100 pounds. So if you break that down, what's that, $5.75, something like that. for 50 pounds. Now there's very few options of feed that you can buy in the bag that you're going to get for $5 or $6 a bag for 50 pounds. So buying it in bulk does save money. But as I said, this feed's not available in the bag. So I brought home 2 different labels. Now, I really don't know all the details. I will say this. Most places generally sell a 4-way blend that is soy hull pellets, corn gluten pellets, wheat mid pellets, and corn chops. So that's just your normal 4-way blend. I'll take a picture of these so you guys can see them and compare them. The normal 4-way blend is 14% protein, 2% fat, and 20% fiber. Now, holding up the normal 4-way blend in one hand and the D&H Bull blend in another hand, I really can't tell the difference. They're almost the same, they look almost the same, but when you look at the ingredients on the D&H Bull blend, it's like a whole paragraph on here. Now, it's a lot of the same pellets, but they add in a lot of extra things like, let's see, molasses products, calcium carbonate, vegetable oil, vitamin A, you know, just a lot of extra stuff added in there. But the difference in the typical 4-way blend and this D&H blend is it bumps up the protein to 17.5% protein and 4% fat. So it goes from 14% to 17.5% on the protein and from 2% to 4% on the fat. Now your fiber is about the same. 20% fiber is pretty high, but that's what I feed, and that's what I fed. The lighting just dropped a while ago. Get away from here, goat. Get away from my tripod. That's what I fed Big Mac on his entire life. And plus he gets all the hay he wants in the wintertime. We do put out the molasses tubs that have a lot of minerals and things in it, and the grass. We didn't have Big Mac on a huge pasture by any means. He was by himself as far as cattle goes. He was the only cow we raised at the time. So I couldn't just turn him out on 100 acres or he'd be in with the neighbor's cows in a heartbeat. But it works great. This feed, the 4-way blend or the D&H blend, you can probably get the 4-way blend at a lot of places around the country because it is a byproduct feed. The soybean hull pellets, the corn gluten pellets, and the wheat mid pellets are all a byproduct of other things. So it's like leftovers ground up in... Good for you, rooster. Now go somewhere else and crow. It's a byproduct feed, and then they add in the corn chops. Now, a lot of people were kind of on me because they noticed we were feeding these donkeys a feed that had corn in it. And I'm not a donkey expert, but a lot of horse feed has corn in it. So this is a very small percentage really when it comes down to it. And we're not feeding the donkeys and the alpacas a lot. They don't get a ton of feed, and they're on mostly grass, and the wintertime they'll have hay. But it's just a good all-around feed that I feed to all of my animals pretty much except the pigs. The chickens I even throw out a few handfuls for the chickens. They don't eat like the bigger pellets that are dark brown. They kind of leave those, but they do clean up. A lot of times if the goats don't clean up their pan, I'll dump out the finings. I don't feed it to the pigs. I do think, I could be wrong, but I think Dutch from Keeping It Dutch tried feeding some pigs on this 4-way blend last year, and they just didn't grow very well. And it may just have to do with the type of pellets that are in there. But with the pigs, I have them on a 18% protein pellet, hog feed pellet. Well, that's what I did most of their life. They were on that, and now I've switched them to corn chops, kind of transitioned, started blending in some corn chops into their feed until I got them pretty much off the pellets. I'll give them a couple coffee canfuls a day or something of the pellets just to give them a little bit of change in their diet, but mostly they're on just corn chops right now. So the last month or so of their life, they're going to be raised on corn chops. So I hope that answers some questions. Everyone always wants to know what we feed our animals. It's, they see us pouring it into those buckets all the time, and it's something that looks different. You can't buy it at, Tractor Supply or Orscheln's or most of the big farm stores like that. It's just a local blended feed that we feed. You may be able to find the 4-way blend at your local feed mills or feed stores, but you're probably not going to be able to buy it in a bag. It's mostly sold in bulk, and it's what a ton of cattle producers in our area raise all their cattle on. It's what they feed their calves and everything. So it's good stuff. It works, and it's cheap. It's not like going out and buying true goat feed or sheep feed. That stuff can run you $10, $12, $13 a bag sometimes, and I don't have any reason to feed my goats a $13 for 50-pound bag of feed when I can buy this stuff in bulk for $6 or $7. And you know, yeah, you have an investment when it comes to the feed wagon there. Some people will buy that stuff in like super sacks. It's what they harvest peanuts and pecans and all that stuff. It's a big white bag that holds about 2,000 pounds of feed or product. But then you got to be able to unload it out of your truck, get it in a barn, and get it under shelter, and then you have problems with rats and mice. So if you can save up for one of these, I highly suggest it. But anyways, guys, that's all I've got for today. I don't know if I truly got scammed or not. It's possible. Could have just been an accident. We're going to call it an honest mistake. Let me know if you have any suggestions on how I should deck out all those pallet rack shelves for a little less cost and not spend $700 on 2x6s to deck it out. So guys, that's all I've got for today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it was just mostly me talking, but trying to answer some questions that we get about our animal feed and things, and it's just part of our day. So guys, hope you enjoyed it. Y'all have a great day, and as always, we'll see you on the next video.